Governor Tony Evers vetoed a GOP bill that would have given the Republican-led legislature control of spending over federal stimulus money.
Time and time again, we've faced roadblocks in responding to the pandemic.
We are offering a very good, comprehensive plan that we hope Governor Evers will work with us on.
The Speaker and the Governor disagree over who gets to decide how to spend that $3 billion. We're talking about this now with our editorial partner, J.R. Ross, editor of WisPolitics.com. All right, J.R., there's a lot to discuss from what happened this past week. Let's first start with this stimulus fight. So the governor said no to handing over control to how this money is spent to the legislature. Speaker Vos said he may file a lawsuit. Republicans may introduce their own legislation. So where does this go from here?
Probably not very far. And the reason I say that is, on the one hand, it is kind of crazy to think that one person has the power to spend that much money. On the other, what trust does Governor Evers have with Robin Vos and Devin LeMahieu to give them a say in how that money is spent? And back up a little bit to what lawmakers are actually proposing. What they want to do is have the governor's plan go through this passive review process of the Joint Finance Committee. What happens there is the governor produces a plan, gives it to this 16-member committee. They can review it for 14 days. Nobody objects, it goes into effect. The objection is raised, they have to meet and take a vote on it. The governor can veto any changes that that committee makes. However, it's controlled 12-4 by Republicans. That committee can override the veto with a 2/3 vote. They have the votes to do it. Ergo, really what they're saying is they would have control, final say over that spending. And if you look at the relationship between Governor Evers and Assembly Speaker Robin Vos over the last 2 years plus, they don't have a relationship. There's no trust there. So Evers is not going to cede control to Robin Vos and Devin LeMahieu, the Senate leader, because there's no foundation to work together because of what's been happening the last 2 years. Now, if you look at Robin Vos's comments about a lawsuit, he made that threat last week when they passed the bill on the Assembly floor. He backed off it somewhat this week, and so they're going to look at other options. That's not his first resort. It wants to look at legislation. I don't get the impression that when push comes to shove, they will file a lawsuit. If you look at the statutes, and I'm not a lawyer, so I caution you this, but what I've been told is that there is authority for the governor to spend federal money like this in the statutes. It might be a tough sell to a judge, overturn that. So I don't know if they'll actually go to the courts. More than likely, you'll see some bills passed to try and make some noise. And then ultimately, this money will figure into the budget discussion. There's a lot of money coming down to the state and federal government. The Republicans are going to argue that, hey, we don't need to spend state money on these things because with these federal funds, the Governor Evers can do on his own.
All right, let's talk about the Wisconsin State Supreme Court ruling this past week, essentially overturning the state's mask mandate, the governor's powers. What is your big takeaway from the ruling and the reaction we've seen so far to it?
It doesn't really change much every life for Wisconsinites. I mean, if you think about it, when Governor Evers issued these mask mandates, a lot of district attorneys in Wisconsin, sheriffs said, we're not going to enforce this. They don't think it was legal. So places like Dane County, Milwaukee County, they have their own local orders already in place. So if you go outstate in Wisconsin right now, like even before the decision, it was up to businesses basically to enforce a mask requirement. It wasn't the government doing it. With the Supreme Court decision, that doesn't change. You still have a situation where a lot of Wisconsinites are going to have a what's the business say versus like Dane County where I live, we still have a public health declaration in place requiring a mask in public. So really, there's no real impact on the everyday life of Wisconsinites from this ruling.
What do we make of the fact that Justice Hagedorn wrote the majority opinion? He was taking a lot of heat from some conservatives in recent months.
Yeah, I mean, remember, he broke with conservatives on things like President Trump's lawsuits to overturn the election results in Wisconsin, some things like that. He also broke with them a year ago, almost a year ago, on the stay-at-home order decision that overturned the extended stay-at-home requirement from the Governor Evers administration. So he's been under fire from conservatives. Interesting that, A, he authored the opinion. It shows, again, he's really the swing vote on the court right now, how important he is. B, even though he sided with his conservative colleagues on this, asking a few folks about kind of the reaction to this, they're like, well, yeah, he's back on the quote unquote right side of things, right, with conservatives, but it took almost 6 months for the decision to come out. Remember, they heard oral arguments back in mid-November on this. What's changed since mid-November legally? Not much, other than in February, the governor, after lawmakers shot down one of his orders, he issued a new one. That's when this changed. The law hasn't changed in 6 months. What has changed, though, is the number of cases that we have in Wisconsin. There's threat that we're facing. Now, there's obviously some signs of another wave coming, but the question is, well, did they wait on purpose to see if things were settling down before issuing this ruling. Again, that's speculation from people, but it goes to show that even though Hagedorn is back with conservatives on a big issue, he's not necessarily getting a lot of credit with the grassroots for doing it because it took so long. And why that's important is, he's not for election for several years yet, but there's a sense of, do conservatives trust this guy after they fought for him in 2019 to get him elected? Do they really trust him fully? I'm not sure they're back there yet with him.
J.R. Ross, editor of WisPolitics.com. J.R., good to see you. Thanks for your time today.
Anytime.
Coming up, the next big federal spending plan, infrastructure.